There was a trending issue whereby Muslims in other institutions were not being allowed to do some of the Muslim practices. And if they lose confidence in me at the onset, that is it. Your reputation is at stake.
So do you prefer more challenges?
As a human being, there are times whereby you will give up. I've given up in business before. You see how these women, how they talk, they would want to convince you that.
If you could go back, is there something you would do differently?
Anybody have this opportunity, having such parents or people around him, the person would definitely excel. But as
what do you want us to do about our educational system?
In a country whereby most of the theories students do not kind of, sometimes you need to be a sycophant in the right way.
Hi lovely people, welcome to Diaries Live, and as usual this is your host Benedict. We are sorry for the long break, but we are back and we are back to stay. We are bringing a new program which is the Success Diaries, and on this we are looking at professionals and business individuals who are thriving in their careers and the various fields of engagement. Today we do have an honorable gentleman with us. He's in the person of Gabriel Gansah. He's a biomedical engineer by profession. He's also affiliated with the Ghana Institution of Engineering and Technology. I admire him for his confidence, and he's outspoken as well. A little bit of politics is also mixed in his career. So welcome Gabriel, welcome to Diaries Live, and we hope we have a good conversation today. And I'm sure by the end of this conversation we are going to inspire the youth and the ones coming up. Okay, so Gabriel, we would need something little about yourself. Be brief, your upbringing, where you grew up, and then your education, how it all started. Let us know something about you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benedict. It's an honor to be featured on your show. As you mentioned earlier, I am Engineer Gabriel Gansah. I was actually born outside the country, in Italy, but I stayed there for about 2 years, and then I was brought back into the country. So when I came to Ghana, I lived with my dad in Kumasi. I actually started schooling at Heaven's Jewel in Macro. Then I moved to Macro Adventist Preparatory School. They normally call it APS. So over there, I transitioned to Biomedical Adventist Preparatory School in Amekum. Then through to JHS. Because I was brought up in an Adventist home, most of my education have been through an Adventist institution. So JHS was an Adventist school. SHS, I went to Adventist Senior High School, Bantama. And then when I was done with SHS, I transitioned into Valley View University, where I studied biomedical engineering. Currently, I'm practicing as a biomedical engineer, and I'm very passionate also about helping my community. I specialize in medical devices, installation, training, and I also do a little bit of sales when it comes to the medical device industry.
That's lovely. I almost asked the question about why Adventist, but you answered it yourself. You said you come from an Adventist home, and with the Adventist, what I've noticed is the discipline when it comes to people in that, in that sect. It comes with a lot of discipline. So would you say your parents are very strict, or the kind of home you come from? Let us know how.
Okay, so I would say my dad is not that strict, but when it comes to your upbringing, you see, because he is passionate about his interest in the Adventist society, he always wants his kids to be aligned with the values of the Adventist society. Because, for instance, there was a trending issue whereby Muslims in other institutions were not being allowed to do some of the Muslim practices. So for him, he doesn't want his kids to go through these kinds of situations. So if the Adventist institution have an Adventist school, then it is best for him to take his wards through that school. So it wasn't just me, but myself and then my senior brother, we all went through the Adventist institution cycle.
Okay, that's impressive. It looks like he wanted to prevent, religious conflicts and all those things. So he chose the path of Adventist education. So the next thing I would ask you is, why did you choose to become a biomedical engineer upon all the professions? Why did you choose that? Did it happen as an accident, or are you also someone who was disappointed by the medical school and then you chose to enter into biomedical engineering? So let me know, how How did you choose that?
Okay, so there is this funny story I would want to share. I'm a man of stories, so I'm sure within this conversation there will be a lot of stories coming up. So growing up, you see kids, I would want to be a doctor, I would want to be a pilot. For me, I was always passionate about law. So growing up, people who knew me knew that I wanted to be a lawyer. But you see, growing up in a house whereby there is a certain perception that if you don't enter into the medical industry, then you are not going to get a job. So throughout my upbringing from JHS, I actually wanted to study general arts because I wanted to be a lawyer. I'm very good when it comes to social studies, the government aspect of it. I'm passionate about law and advocacy. But my dad was the kind of unemployment situation that was then in the country. He felt that it is mostly populated by people who did general arts, and he felt like doing science is the quickest way to make it, okay, in terms of employment. So I would say I was a bit forced. And in SHS, I got enrolled, I studied science, and when I was done with school, you see, in our communities, if you are very good with computer, I mean IT, when you know your way around in phones and then laptops, obviously you think you're an IT guru. So I actually wanted to do computer science because of that knowledge. I felt I was there. But then one day I was home and my dad was like, I know you want to do computer science, but I'm also passionate about you entering the medical field. So there is this program called Biomedical Engineering offered in Valley View University, and I would want you to consider. It wasn't really an option, but it was placed in a form of an option for me. So I also did a little research, and you know, those times I was very naive. Okay, then this thing hit me. This is a funny story. Okay, so after SHS, you'll be going to university. Your friends will be interested in the kind of program you want to do. Because we've heard stories whereby people have gone into the university and they've undertook courses that they didn't like. I mean, programs that they don't like. So you see someone doing sociology, meanwhile the person is not passionate in sociology. But I felt like biomedical engineering is a cool name. Biomedical engineering too. It sounds like doing medicine. So quickly I went to Google. I did a little research. Then I learned that, okay, so it's actually the combination of medicine and engineering. So I felt like if I'm able to sell this to my friends, I'll be on top. You get it? Because, oh, what course are you doing? I'm doing biomedical engineering. That was what drove me into that program. It wasn't that I was passionate about it in the beginning, but then I think my dad also saw something in me, and then he felt like if I venture into that field, I would excel. So that is how come I got into the field of biomedical engineering.
Let me ask this. Getting into biomedical engineering, it came as it's looking like it was just an option. It wasn't a dream.
Yes.
That I wanted to really study biomedical engineering. So, and the whole thing has been about employment. I want to know, is your dad in the medical field or is he in the health sector as well? Because that's where I think the persuasion came from to get this kind of, degree done.
Okay, so my dad is not in the medical field, but he has been in the medical field before. Okay, but he felt like, you see, those days where people wanted to be nurses because it comes with easy employment. I think it was that notion that shaped his way of thinking. Maybe my senior brother was actually interested in science. For him, he has been a science student throughout. But for me, as I stated earlier, I've always been into advocacy, history, governance, and the rest. So I wanted to pursue law, but he felt like he cannot take me through basic education, senior high, university, and there will be a point whereby I will be unemployed. So he felt that entering into the medical space would be the quickest way to gain employment. Okay, and biomedical engineering, he knew someone who was a biomedical engineer. Okay, and the person was making it in terms of finance. Okay, so then he felt, okay, if I'm able to enroll my kid into that space, then it means my kid is also going to follow that trend and then also make it in life. Yeah, so that was...
Okay, that was a quick thinking by him, but I would also let you know that from the way you flow now, I think you still have to consider law later in life, right? There's something you should consider. Law, most people take it as a postgraduate program, so it doesn't matter what you do or what you are doing now. It's something I think you should still consider it. But what has been your biggest challenge in your field? What has been your biggest challenge?
Okay, so I would say one of my biggest challenges, you see, from the start of my profession, okay, I started at Menchia District Hospital as a national service personnel. When I started as an NSP, we were 2 people there with my boss. Then we started in, I think, November. By February, my boss was gone. He traveled outside the country. Okay, so right now, the whole Menchia District Hospital rests on the shoulders of myself,
Two young men.
and the other guy.
2 young men.
Yeah, 2 young men. Okay, and we felt like this is the time we need to prove ourselves to the hospital administration, because then from university days, after university, we met some biomedical engineers, and then we got to know that gaining employment in that field is not that easy. Okay, so then in order for us to get employment easy, then it means we need to give our best. But this is a situation whereby the theory practice gap between what we study in school and what is on the field, there is a big gap between it. Because in school you study calculus, you do a little bit of thermodynamics, you do fluid mechanics, you do biomechanics, and then the rest. But when you come to the field, it's more of electricals. Okay, so you do all the calculus in school, you would think, okay, you know biomedical engineering. But when you come to the field, you need to apply more of electricals. And if you are not someone who have been through internships, fortunately for me, I went through a lot of internships. Okay, I did about 3 internships before graduating. But even with that, the field is such that you always need to update your knowledge, because always new technologies are coming up. Okay, so in a big hospital like Menchia District Hospital, 2 NSPs who are inexperienced, it was a bigger challenge for us. It was a very big challenge because, one, we needed to prove our worth to the management for them to know that these kids can actually handle the job. Okay, because the person leaving that gap for us was he was an experienced biomedical engineer. And when it comes to life-saving medical devices, and you leave it to inexperienced people, a little mistake can cause a big damage in the medical industry. So it was a very big challenge for us. And then I would say through that we learned a lot and were able to prove ourselves to the management. So even after our national service, before our national service, we were informed that, okay, with the way we are working and the work that we've put in, management believes in us. Okay, so then they would want us to extend our stay after national service. I don't know how many people after national service would get an opportunity like that from a government institution to proceed with what they were doing. It was a tough battle. Through the engineering journey, as a national service personnel, your boss is not around. You get a call from the ward. There is this thing happening, let's say a suction machine. You know the theories of suction machine, but then when it comes to troubleshooting, it is not the theory aspect. The troubleshooting, you need to think beyond the theories, because there are certain things that engineers do that it is not in the books. It is the experience on the field. But it's a situation whereby there is a patient who needs suction, and the nurses believe that you are an engineer. They are looking forward to you to fixing the machine, even if it's not right there, in like 10 to 15 minutes, because someone's life is at stake. This is the kind of things I went through, and not just me, myself and my partner. We went through because we needed to prove ourselves. Initially, it was difficult. Sometimes you need to call up to senior engineers who have experience on the field, and they will just tell you, oh, just check the filters. You check the filters, everything is okay. But because we didn't have the experience in the beginning, we were finding it difficult. But then once, and I'm a kind of person who, once you teach me something, I don't need to be taught twice. If you teach me this once, I will get it. So that was where we started building the experience from. Because in the field of engineering, without experience, you cannot excel. And once you get there, people believe that, oh, you are an engineer, you can fix this. So it means, first impression, they have their hopes high. If you disappoint them 1, 2, 3, then you see, a hospital is more like a community. Okay, so then people talk. Then you would be hearing stories about you, oh, this engineer, he doesn't know the job. So because of that, I needed to prove myself to the people that I am worth the title engineer. So these are some of the challenges I faced. And I remember when I started a new job, you see, biomedical engineering is such that it's a big field. Okay, even under clinical engineering, there are people who have specialized in life support. We have in vitro diagnostic medical devices. So when you go to the lab, chemistry analyzers, hematology analyzers, and then the rest. Okay, so I had transitioned from the normal clinical engineering in the hospital into an IVD without zero experience. First week on the job, first week, I was told I needed to do an installation. I've never done an installation before. It was a very hard and difficult task for me because I honestly had zero knowledge about the machine. I think it was my second time coming into contact with a chemistry analyzer, but my first time doing the installation. Lucky enough for me, I had someone who was already in the company, but the person was about leaving. So through the journey, we went there. You see, we have European machines and we have Chinese machines. When it comes to Chinese machines, it's a bit easy to use. Okay, but when it comes to the installation, it is difficult when it comes to chemistry analyzer because it demands certain informations. They've categorized certain, how shall I put it? I don't want to go into the technical words, but then certain inputs that you need to do. The Europeans would use a different name, whilst the Chinese will use a different name. So we're finding it difficult. But once we got to the place, you see, the people are happy that, oh, finally, our prayers have been answered. We needed a chemistry analyzer. This is the chemistry analyzer. And this is a situation whereby, in as much as the first person has have immense experience in chemistry analyzers, this Chinese machine was giving us a little issues. Whilst the people are, should I say, they are on your neck waiting for you to show your magic as an engineer. Once you step into an institution, let's say a hospital, as a private engineer, they know that you know the job. You can do it. But this is a situation whereby I find myself, this is my first week on the job. I have zero knowledge. So it was a difficult task for me. The first week, we took about 2 to 3 days with the installation. We made progress. Okay, but then we couldn't finish. So then we had to go back. The next time I had to come alone. But because, as I stated earlier, I am someone, if you teach me one thing, you don't need to teach me again. So I went there on my own, did a little bit of research, contacted international support because I am going with full vim. Because after the installation, I'll be the person taking care of the machine for them. And if they lose confidence in me at the onset, that is it. Your reputation is at stake as an engineer. So I did the little research that I needed to do, went there with full vim, and executed the job.
Okay, let me chip in this. From your story, it seems you've been made who you are by challenges. You take on the challenge, you make sure you get it done, you move on, you learn. As you said, experience in the field of engineering is very, very, very much important. You learn and then you go on. So would you say challenges are good or are challenges bad? I don't know. Some people hate challenges. So I don't know. Do you embrace challenges and do you want more of them? Or I don't know how you see the whole thing how people see challenge. I don't know if that's how you also see them. Because challenges make people and others also hate them. So do you prefer more challenges in your area as you go on with your career? So I want to know that.
You see, the funny thing is, I used to hate challenges. I am someone growing up, if I'm doing this and I cannot execute it properly, I'll just give up. But you see, sometimes the people around you, they have a way of motivating you to push you from your comfort zone. Okay, so my dad, for instance, has been a very big pillar in my life. He has been my cheerleader. Okay, if I'm doing something and I cannot do it, I'll just place a call to him. Daddy, I'm facing difficulty in this. He will tell you, other people have been able to do it. I know you can do it. This is the reason why God has placed you in this place, because he knows you can do it. So for someone who used to hate challenges. Right now, I prefer challenges because it makes me a better person. It makes me gain more experience. And challenges is what have made me who I am in my career right now, because I've never had it easy. It has been challenges upon challenges. But once I conquer the challenge, I'm waiting for the next one.
That was good to hear. It seems you love challenges, and I want to know, have you ever at a point felt like giving up in your career, or let's say, I mean, in your life? Have you ever thought of giving up? Thought of giving up?
Okay, thought of giving up. I would say, you see, as a human being, there are times whereby you will give up. I've given up in business before, but even in school, I remember in my 4th year, you see, my dad has been a pillar I always lay my head on. I remember that time we did 3 semesters in a year. It was very hard for me because I was taking up some courses. You see, in school you hear that, oh, these seniors, they needed to retake this course 2 or 3 times before they were able to graduate. Okay, it was a course, biofluid mechanics, quantitative human physiology, transport phenomena. These courses, they are very deadly. Anybody who went to Valley View and did biomedical engineering would know what I'm talking about. So there are points in my life where I felt like I cannot do this. I cannot do it because the pressure on me, exams was approaching, and it felt like I had nothing in my head. And this was me getting to my final year. I didn't want to take a receipt. So I picked up the phone. I called my dad. Daddy, this and this is what's going on. He was like, I know your course is very hard. There are challenges. But you see, other people have been able to do it. This is why you always tell me, people have been able to do it. You can do it. Just believe in yourself. It is okay to sometimes feel low that, oh, you cannot do it. But once you psych your mind that you can do this, you can actually achieve anything that you want to be in life. Okay, so that source of motivation, that as much as I am the one doing it, even him who is not doing it, he feels like you can do it. That motivated me, and that has been my source of motivation in life. There are times where I would want to do something, then I'll tell myself, oh, I cannot do this. Then you see someone standing in the back, oh, Gabriel, you can do it. You are actually good at it. That little thing alone, you are good at it. The person feeling that, oh, the person sees beyond what you see. Okay, so that has always been my source of motivation. People around me, maybe they don't know, but people around me have been motivating me to excel in life directly and indirectly because they believe in who I am and what I can do.
So it seems your motivation comes from your father, especially, number one, and those around you. So can you say your father has been your best? I mean, he has been your shoulder throughout. Can you say that?
Yes, but not just my father. I need to chip in my mom because when I call on my dad, it is both of them that I'm speaking to. They are more like, I should put it this way, the Trinity. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit, but they are one. Okay, so once I call on my dad, my mom will be around sometimes, and she would also chip in something that, oh, Gabriel, you see how these women, how they talk, they would want to convince you that you're a better person, you can actually do it. So my parents have been my biggest supporter in life when it comes to education, career-wise, anything that I want to do. They are always there to motivate me that, Gabriel, you can actually do this.
Right. So this is going in a way. It's going. I think it's going on the path of responsible parenting. I think parenting isn't just about sending your kids to school and hoping and praying they do well. You need to be there for them. You need to motivate them. Sometimes you just need someone to just someone to talk to. And if your parents are there for you, I think they did a very good job through your upbringing, your education, and then where you are today. If you could go back, is there something you would do differently?
From what I'm seeing currently, I think I'm on the right path. I think I'm on the right path because I actually stated that I wanted to do law. I'm still interested in the law, but I'm kind of thinking elsewhere. But the situation I find myself in, I've been able to develop a blueprint for myself. I have plans that I've set in motion because I know where I want to get to. Okay, and with where I want to get to, with the plans, the things that I've put in place, I think this is the best path I need to charter.
I think your story is inspiring, but you know, going through this conversation, I realized the gap people have been talking about on our educational system. The gap between the academia and then the field. There's a big gap. What you learn in school and then what you come and meet on I think in the field. Sometimes what we see in school is totally different from what we see on the field. What advice do you, I mean, what do you want us to do about our educational system? I think we do more of theory than the practical. So do you think we should change? Or do you have suggestions that would make our educational system better? We might not know who is watching. I mean, someone could take this and then take it up. So let's hear you if you have suggestions on our educational system, especially the tertiary level, practical and then the theory aspect.
Okay, so you see, at a tertiary level, I would say sometimes it depends on the kind of school you go to. I'm very fortunate to have attended a private university, and then my school values skills as much as they are pushing the theory to you. So from the onset of level 100, when you are moving to level 200, they come around. We know that in school is about theory, but in order for you to harness the skills on the job, you need to do internships. So from the onset of level 100, that idea of internship has been sold to you. I know there are schools where you need to get to level 300 before you start doing internship. But in my school, straight from level 100, you'll be encouraged to be doing internships. Okay, not just encouraged, but you are kind of being forced to, because they know how the theory practice gap. The theory is good. See, there are some things that initially when I was learning in school, I thought it wasn't needed with the experience, because when I started working, I felt, oh, but biomedical engineering, I've learned calculus, I've done fluid mechanics, and then the rest. Where am I using it? Until I went to Tamale Teaching Hospital. Okay, so I was going to fix a dialysis machine. That was my first time coming into contact with a dialysis machine. I've seen one before, but that was my first time working on a dialysis machine. So when I opened up the machine, I checked the parameters, and then I had a recollection. Oh, okay, so in fluid mechanics, flow, pressure, this is where I need to apply it. I think because we live in a country whereby most of the theories, students do not come into real life contact with it. So somebody can be on the field, let's say in a normal hospital, the person would not have come into contact with a dialysis machine. The person wouldn't know the benefit of studying fluid mechanics. Okay, but because I have gotten the exposure, I've also been able to link what I studied in the theory to that of the dialysis machine. I mean, the setup and everything. But an internship is very important, especially as an engineering student. Even if your school does not kind of force you to do it from level 100, you can walk up to your HOD and tell him, okay, after vacations, I would want to embark on an internship. Okay, they will give you a letter, you speak to a few people. You see, connection is also very important in life. Okay, there are some network. I watched the movie, the person stated, your network is your net worth. Okay, in order to...
It's very true. That's very true, because from experience as well, I've seen people rise from nothing to something because of those they know. A deal or a life-changing opportunity could come knocking at your door because of someone you know. So as you are saying, connecting with people, networking is very, very, very much important. I want to ask this. Where do we see Engineer Gabriel Gansah, let's say from 5 to 10 years from now? Where do we see you? Okay, because I see some kind of politics as well. I see politics. So where do we see you in the next 5 to 10 years?
In the next 5 to 10 years, you'll be looking at a very successful engineer who is more into business, the business of medical devices, and also into other businesses. You see, I stated earlier that I have a blueprint. Okay, I've been in the engineering field. You can be on the field as an engineer, okay, and you can be on the field as a sales engineer. Let me put it like a sales engineer, because you know the nitty-gritties of the machine. But with the way the world is moving, especially Ghana, right now advanced technology are coming into the system. Our hospitals are lacking those technologies. Maybe there will be a point in Ghana whereby we would have a government who will be ready to invest in our medical field. If the government wants to invest in the medical field, then it means the person would need medical devices. So I want to position myself whereby I don't just need a government to make an investment, but then hospitals nowadays are making investment in the kind of machines that they need. And I've seen the gold mine in that field. So right now, my focus, it is one of the reasons why I moved to the private side, because I could have stayed in the government, although I wasn't employed totally, but then I was getting something. Okay, but my focus has always been about private. Maybe it is because of my ideologies, because I believe in a private working system whereby people are not just dependent on the government. So if I'm venturing into the private field, what do I do? In my field of work, I do a bit of engineering, I do a little bit of sales. I need to harness these skills because for me, I feel like I need to be my own boss. So where I am currently, I am studying the job very well so that I can set up something on my own. In the next 5 to 10 years, I'm sure we would have a conversation then, and then it will be in my office as one of the top medical device dealers in the industry.
That's impressive, and that's very good to hear. I've learned so much from you within this short period, and I hope our viewers have also gotten something from this conversation. From Engineer Gabriel Gansah's story, you would get to know that his parents have been very, very instrumental in his upbringing and where he has gotten to today. So we are looking at responsible parenting. Do you have anything else to add to that? The role of parents in the lives of their children?
I think if not because of my parents, I wouldn't be where I am today. They have been very instrumental in every decision that I just fall on them, because I know that in life, if you make a little mistake, it can take you to ground zero. But because our parents have seen beyond what we are seeing currently, they are able to guide you. And there are times where you would not agree with what they are trying to tell you. But when you get there, you understand that, oh, okay, so there are times where you need to make mistakes in order to move forward. Okay, but having your parents around, not just your parents, but people who means well for you, people who want you to excel, people who motivate you, guide you that this is what I've seen in you, this is what you can do. If you charter this path, or if you are in the process and you are facing any difficulties, you can fall on me. Trust me, if anybody have this opportunity, having such parents or people around him, the person would definitely excel. But as I stated earlier, your skills, your confidence, your connection with community support, it will take you to places.
Now I want to know your final words. What do you have for our viewers? What do you want to share with our viewers? The young ones coming up, those already working, what do you want to share with them? But before that, I think this whole conversation has been on skills. Wherever you find yourself, your profession, or wherever you find yourself, you should focus on skills, acquiring skills. The theory is important, but the skills are much, much more important. So Gabriel, your final words.
I would say to anybody watching me right now, there are about 3 things you need in life to excel. 1 is your confidence, 2, skills, 3, connection. You need to be confident that, okay, I can actually do this. But you being confident in you being very confident in your abilities does not take you there. You need the skills. You can have the confidence, you can have the skills, but who is putting you on? Let me share this story too. I know this is my closing words, but I was on ward rounds one day, okay? And then I was just going around. I went to the lab just to check up 1 or 2 things. I met this engineer working on a machine. I just went to him, oh, so you are also a biomedical engineer and you are working on this one? Oh yeah, I work in a private company. Oh, okay. So I stood there, kind of, sometimes you need to be a sycophant in the right way, okay? So I stood there trying to give him a helping hand. So whilst he was doing it, I was looking at it, trying to ask questions with my theory, the things that I've studied, for the person to know that, oh, okay, this guy also knows his stuff. Okay, so then I needed to kind of impress him because I wanted to move to the private side. So throughout the process, I gave him a helping hand. When he was done, we spoke. I was like, oh, if there is any point in your time where maybe you are going somewhere and you need someone to help you around, you can just fall on me and I'll be ready to help you. You know, when this individual was leaving the company that I'm currently working in, he sent me a flyer of the company that, oh, the last time that we worked, he liked how I was going about my duties, and then he feels that I can fill his position. Okay, so network is very important, because if when I saw him, I just passed by, I didn't approach him, I didn't build that little friendship with him, I wouldn't have gotten where I've gotten to. And where I am currently, I've been exposed to so many things. This is the foundation of my life. I mean, where I am. This is where I'm setting things in motion so that in the next 5-10 years, I'll be very successful. So you need the skills, you need to be confident, and you need to know the right people to connect to so that you can excel in life.
So your closing words have been, you need the skills, you need to be confident, and you need to know the right people. Network, 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 network. Thank you, viewers, for joining us on Success Diaries. I hope this conversation has inspired you. I've learned so many things from Engineer Gabriel Gansah. I wish we could do more of this, but for the sake of time, we would like to end here and then we continue another time. Thanks for joining us. Remember to share the link, subscribe, and do like our content. You can drop your questions as well. Thanks for joining us.